Welcome to all of you. The series of conversations and explorations on how to include every fabulous thing that you have to offer into your life and work. If you are a multi-passionate, creative, entrepreneurial woman seeking harmony, adventure, meaning, purpose, and enjoyment and flow in life, then this is the right place for you to be. I'm your host, Joyce VandeLely from the Fierce Female Force, and today my guest is Jen Engels-Smith. She is a true master of transformation. She is a shamanic practitioner, a licensed professional counselor, a chemical dependency specialist, hypnotherapist, and Reiki master. Wow. You definitely have many layers. Welcome, Jen. I'm so glad that you could be here.
Thank you, Joyce. Yeah, pleasure is mine. It's been fun getting to know you in our previous conversations. So thank you.
It's, as I said just before, and I even struggled pronouncing some of the things that you actually do. You do so many things and you are so multi-layered. I would love for you to explain a little bit how that happened, how you managed to weave that all together.
How'd that happen? How'd you do that? Well, it kind of came unexpectedly. You know, I started off my career as a young woman in my 20s with a BA in science. I taught high school biology and chemistry, and I was very involved in the sciences. And then I went back and I got my master's degree in psychology and in education, and had a practice in psychotherapy. But then I had a spiritual experience that really turned my world inside out and upside down, that is written about in a couple different books. The most current one is called Shamanism for the New Millennium, which is an anthology of 16 different individuals and their call to shamanism. And that road of learning those techniques and really learning what I call energy medicine and how that affects us on such a cellular, spiritual level was taking years off of therapy, because I was always a very results-oriented person. I wanted to see results. I didn't want to have somebody in therapy for 12 years. You know, it was just like, no, or even 2 years or a year. You know, it was just too much. And so I was always asking that question in my own heart about how to be able to be of service and to help people better. And I had a lot of different skill sets in that psychotherapy. And then when that awakening happened, it was just like, oh, this is it. And so then I received all the training for that and went on. And one of the main modalities in shamanism that I use, or energy medicine, is called soul retrieval. And it's a healing ritual ceremony that somebody goes through, and you bring back parts of the person that were lost in some sort of trauma.
Yeah. And
to this day, I've done over 3,500 of them. And so it's a lot of experience. And I was also I have this mind that I documented everything and I studied them, because I always felt like there was messages to me about life, lifetimes, karma, incarnations, lineages, how, all these different things on how to have a really healthy, good life. And so I studied them, and I asked a lot of questions to my allies, and feel like it took me into a very interesting, open-minded idea of how to be well and how to be powerful, how to be empowered, which is really, it's what you're all about. And yes, it's what I'm all about too. And I've approached it from healing, but really you can apply these techniques to just anything in any case.
You said so many beautiful words. As I introduced yourself, you're a master of transformation. It's all about recreating yourself, right?
Yes.
And another word that I just picked up, open-mindedness, that is so crucial. I think asking questions, A lot of questions.
Asking questions, being curious. That's what I always say. Be curious.
Mm.
Don't settle for status quo, because I really feel that we have been so oppressed and limited throughout our human history that we can't even comprehend our brilliance. And yet it's there, it's inside of us, it's to be discovered. And if you just have the right tools, man, you can open up and experience. It's really fascinating. And I love my work. I just love it.
Well,
Because
I can tell,
I see results. I see results, and that's what I wanted. Yeah.
So you're all about making the tools work for many people.
Right.
Can you tell me a little bit what what the things were that you developed?
Sure. My latest project, which is the one that I'm very excited about, is a webinar called Recreate Yourself: 7 Truths for Guaranteed Success.
Mm-hmm.
And this webinar is a culmination of what I have discovered as useful understandings about energy medicine and about you being a spiritual being, not necessarily just blood and bone, but you have this spirit, which is your primary source. It is your vitality. It is the thing that leaves you when you die and go someplace else. It is the essence of who you are. That part of you needs to be maintained and maintained. And we don't have doctors for that. We have doctors for the body, for the mind, all these different things. But what about the soul or the spirit that actually needs doctoring? And that's basically what shamanism is. But then again, not everybody's interested in shamanism or even knows what the word means.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in a place where, okay, how can I take this information that is so valuable and has been around since human beings have? In fact, National Geographic dates it back 100,000 years. I don't even think of humans being on the planet 100,000 years ago, but that's when they dated it back. And how can I make that available then to anybody and everyone, where you don't have to learn what shamanism is, or you don't even have to learn what energy medicine is?
Mm-hmm.
And so I created this webinar that's got this information in there, that if you follow the techniques, if you follow and use the tools, it's just like you're in your own self-care empowering program, and they work. I've seen it work. I have witnessed thousands of people, and then my school too that I started, because I started a school in this because it was so empowering for folks.
So the Light Song School you're talking about now?
Light Song School. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we have thousands of people go through that school, because I would do sessions with people and they would say, I want to know this. How do you do this? Yeah. And we would start off in my basement, and I started training people. Now we have, we've grown. We have the first bachelor's, master, and doctoral programs in energy medicine that are accredited. Yeah. So it's great.
So as you said, you did sessions in your basement. You've written books. So why did you choose the webinar as the means to get the information out to others?
We live in a global world, and most people have moved here to train at the school, and that's not for everybody. You can, of course, fly in for classes if you want. We do have a few things online, but I am in the business of helping people be well. And the market today, people like the convenience of their own home. They like to work at their own pace. So we took all of those factors in mind. And plus the webinar is also, we took several tests on learning styles and making sure that we hit everybody's learning style, that I was capable of doing that in the in the writing of it. And I have a partner with it too. Her name is Karen Hefner. And so we took these tests to see that we're actually hitting everybody's learning style. And we did, we maximized on that. So it's for everybody. Anybody can do it. It's just, do you want to? And here's a method, and it's available. And I'm really proud of it. It's great.
And also, as you just said, you're in the business of spirituality and business can go well together, can't they? I mean, there are some thoughts that people say, oh, if you're spiritual, you cannot be business-like. If you're a business, you cannot be spiritual. You definitely prove that it is possible. Mm-hmm.
Well, spirituality is who you are.
Yeah.
And if you're in business, if you're in the corporate world, which we're taking these webinars, because your office will run better. Your relationship with your boss and all of your colleagues will be better. Your home life will be better. Your relationships at home, your relationship with the earth, your relationship with your pets, mm-hmm. everything, because you are a spiritual being. You can't isolate and say, oh, that doesn't match. If you go there, it goes there with you, because that's who you are. You are a spiritual being. And again, people keep things pigeonholed and categorized and forget the magnificence of their being and who they actually are and how you are communicating with the universe and with life with every breath that you take and every thought that you have and every word that you speak. There's this communication coming off of you because you're an energy system. Yes. And so is everything else.
And as you're explaining this, you light up, you can see. But as a science teacher, how you started off, it must have been quite a revelation for yourself to open up to this. Because as you said, you were quite, maybe perhaps more left-brained than open to that.
Extremely.
Yeah. So how did you experience that?
Well, I look back at that role and I have this ability that I like in myself of really diving into quantum physics. I taught physics for a long time, and quantum physics is different. But to me, quantum physics is what shamanism has been saying since the beginning of time. They're just using a different language or a different cosmology to explain it. So I understood it. As far as the original science, I looked at my career in science of my love of nature and looking for a safe way to understand life. Yeah. Because it was safe. It was one of those things which I think many people are moving through life trying to be safe, like where they're not going to be ridiculed, where they're not going to be laughed at. And this was not on my radar at all. I didn't know a thing about it when I had this awakening or this apparition that actually, appeared to me. And so when I look back on it again, biology, ecology, the sciences, I got to understand life in a format that was acceptable to society. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so I think that was a good beginning. But I use that science background now because I look for data all the time and I run tests. We're actually ran a pilot study for a big research hospital here in Portland, Oregon on PTSD because they couldn't, they were struggling with all of our people coming back from Afghanistan and various places and the severe PTSD they had. And they turned to us because of that science background. I asked them, I said, why us? Why'd you pick us? Mm-hmm. And they said, your background as well as your curriculum. Your curriculum is so solid, it's so well-rounded that we wanted you to run the studies. And that's a published study now in a health journal. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's an amazing task. Because PTSD definitely is surprising. I mean, I went through earthquakes. Many of the people that have tuned in already know. And there are triggers that you don't have control over. There are
That's
some
right.
little things can trigger, and suddenly it's there.
Yes.
And the body, the memories, they're interesting things. It's really interesting. So it's beautiful work. That's beautiful work that you're doing. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
Mm.
you. We're very proud of it. And,
yeah.
My goal really is to bring energy medicine and shamanism to be accepted in the allopathic or the medicine world as a viable alternative
Yes. Yes.
medicine. And the only way you're going to do that is if you qualify it and quantify it with scientific studies, and you can prove, because they have a particular way of endorsing different programs, and you have to fit that model. You can't say, well, you fit my model, And so we run studies, and I document things, because it's that documentation that is provable.
And that's quite an important thing that you say here, because you want the mainstream world to accept this, and therefore you need to bring them proof on paper or study results and things like that. And that is, I think that is the struggle that is happening at the moment, that most people are more open to alternative medicine, alternative ways, different ways from what society has always done. But then it is difficult to have society accept it as a valid possibility. Yeah.
Right. The webinar, though, does not seem alternative.
Yeah.
The way that I approach it.
I mean alternative as in another way of.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yes. But I really talk to the audience in the webinar as a mainstream audience that is, like I said, just interested in self-care, wellness, empowerment, how to get out of the struggles. I really feel that most of society lives in a type of fight or flight existence. We're coping. Many people don't feel safe or capable. I mentioned that a little bit early. They also don't always feel connected. When you say, well, feel connected, well, what does that mean? Feel connected to what?
Yeah, well, exactly, yeah.
And so it's really impossible to tap into our innate natural abilities, your inner truth and your brilliance, when you're in this place of fight or flight. So going through the modules in the webinar explains how all of this works and how energy works, and gives you enough activities to do to really ground you and go, oh, I am completely capable of this. I just need to do this, this, and this. And it's a step-by-step process. So it's very simplified, but very powerful. There's power in simplicity.
What is your favorite energy medicine for you personally? Do you have a favorite thing to do?
Sure. I mean, for me, it's soul retrieval. I mean, I've dedicated my life, my career to it, my adult life. I've seen so many amazing results with it. Miraculous results with it. That, yes, that's my favorite. However, I think for myself, my personal practice on a daily is stilling my mind and having quiet time and really moving into alignment with who I am, my own truth, so that I can stop the distractions for a moment and just have that quiet time with myself. And I've actually been doing that since my teenage years. That was always a very important thing for me to do, for whatever reason. I don't know why, it just was.
So you did that intuitively, more so than with
Nobody ever really taught me to do that.
Yeah.
And in the very beginning, I embraced the church with that. It was my prayer time, and there was a stillness to it. Now I would say that it falls more into the category of a very quiet meditation and also prayer. I pray and then I listen. It's what I tell my students. You need to learn how to listen.
Mm,
Life and nature are talking to you constantly. You got to
yeah.
listen and learn how to listen inside. Mm-hmm.
And as you said, that needs a little bit of quietness around you because the world is very loud and busy.
Yes.
So, yes, so just turn everything off and be quiet and still, and then start listening to your voice. And as you said, the voices of nature. That sounds beautiful. And you live in a nice area to do so as well.
Yeah. Yes, I do. I've developed a lot of guided meditations too for people because turning the chatter off in your head can take years of
Yeah.
practice. It's not something that just happens overnight.
Mm,
And so again, with that, there are stepping stones that you can do. Guided meditation is an excellent tool to start that process because you're being guided by whoever is doing it and moving you into this place of relaxation. And it gives your mind something to do. You get to listen.
yeah. Mm.
Listening is a process that um, helps stop the chatter if you're listening.
Because that happens a lot, that people feel overwhelmed, too busy, and don't seem to be able to find that button to turn
Yeah.
every loud thing and busyness around them off, and find that quiet moment and find that stillness. So it's really that's really important that you say that you can do that step by step as well. That you don't have to feel panicky about it. That you think it's just you that feels this way, because it happens for so many, right?
Yes. I mean, again, Joyce, we're spiritual beings, and that spirit needs to be maintained and maintenance. When you're still, it's actually helping your spirit because most people are a product of what they've been told. You
Mm,
know, they've been said things about them that are really just not true. And yet that is the voice in their head that is directing them. And when you're still, it allows you to have time to tap into this, again, brilliance. You are a brilliant, magnificent being that has been shrouded over with these messages that are not true. They're in charge of your busyness in your life. And when you can turn that off and still yourself for a little time, you get more in connection and contact with that brilliance inside of yourself. And a transformation starts taking place. I always say healing is not a cognitive process. It's not something you're going to think through.
mm-hmm.
Energetic transformation that happens in the heart.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
and so it's energy. It's an energy movement. And those are the things that you're not going to necessarily get when you're busy. Although I will say that from years of practicing it, I listen even in my busyness. There's a place in me that is very quiet, even in busyness. But again, that's taken years
Training.
of
Yeah.
practice. Yeah, it's taken
Yeah.
years of practice. However, you got to start somewhere.
Exactly.
You have
Yes.
to start somewhere. And if you were to just give yourself a few minutes a day, or like in doing these modules that I have, they take maybe 25 minutes to
Mm.
do, and then you do work the next one.
Yeah.
That's not very much time. And you're feeding your soul. You're
Yeah.
taking care of you.
And that lasts a lot longer, you
Oh,
know. Yeah.
it's
So what is
vital.
20 minutes exactly? So many
Vital.
people say I'm too busy for 20 minutes, but if that is an investment for the longer road ahead, that's actually nothing. Really.
You will be happier. Your relationships will be better. You'll be more prosperous. All these things fall in alignment
Mm.
with time for yourself, a stillness. And if you look at the great masters, if you look at even the ingenious inventors of the world, the Einsteins and the Edisons, they all took time to quiet their minds in meditation of some sort and to work internally. That's where inventive ideas come from. Comes from opening up your mind to the collective that's feeding you new ideas and imagination.
Something really silly pops into my head now. I heard somebody say that children nowadays, they are no longer allowed to be bored. Because they're constantly connected to something, to do something. And that means that because they are no longer allowed to be bored, they don't come up with their own ideas anymore. Because everything is just what is handed to them. So yes, you say, inventors, they bring out the best ideas in the times that they meditate, or perhaps you could say, allow the mind to be bored, give the mind time to work internally. And connect to that soul and the heart. And because
it's creative time. It's a very creative time. I mean, for me, it's never boredom. In fact, I would say that I enjoy it so much that it's like, oh, I wish I had just a few more moments, because it's so fulfilling to me. But yeah, it's a beautiful process.
I love how you bring everything together: self-care, the soul, the heart, the mind, that everything is connected. And as you said, we're one ball of energy. It is all connected. So there's no other way but to find those threads within ourselves.
That's right. That's right. The adage is you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. We have all of these things that have really, these ideas have been around since the beginning of time, but you do have to apply them, and there really aren't shortcuts. And what people find is they start burning out, they get ill, they have a lack of luster in their life, and that's what then turns them to some sort of need for self-care or need for care. We're trying to circumvent that. It's like, if you start now, you will be healthier in the end. You will be brighter. You'll have more vitality. You're not going to be burning out, basically. And that's why I'm like, start today. Start your program today, whatever that is. And then, of course, I like to get people involved with like-minded community, which I think, the internet is so phenomenal for that, because you can have Facebook groups, or you can have chat rooms, or you can have all this stuff where you're not feeling as if you're by yourself out there doing things, but you're connecting to other people of like mind. It gives you a place to belong, and people need that too. They need a place to belong. So.
Yes, and even though I'm always saying, be yourself, be your unique self, because there's nobody else exactly like you, but it is nice to know that there are groups of similar people to hang out with. That are equally weird, But then you can be like a group of misfits and be all great together. Definitely.
Yes.
So. Yes.
It makes it be the norm then for you, and it just becomes part of your everyday expression of fun and communication and enjoyment. So there's just so many wonderful things that will start happening in your life because you're opening up to that. Intention puts something into motion. Intention is actually an energy that is a creative energy. It puts things in motion. So if you intend to feel better, if you intend like, okay, I'm going to do this webinar, I'm intending to do this, and then you follow it with good action, like you turn on your computer and you do the things, then all of that energy, that healing energy that is in that webinar or whatever you're doing, has an availability then to work on you, because it's all an energetic match for your intention. And so, yes, you're doing a process, but there's a much bigger picture going on in what you're drawing to you, how you're feeling, and what the end result is going to be. It's usually bigger than anything that we can ever imagine, because our minds are limited. We're not understanding the vastness and the goodness of this energy and its healing components and its love components.
Which
and
is actually unlimited.
Unlimited. Yeah. But again, you have to say yes. That's our motto at Lightsong. I say yes, I'm available, and I'm willing. And you say that in your life, and doors open energetically as well as physically for you.
Oh, beautiful. Yes, yes, I agree. And I know it is true, because, it's so easy to sit and think in the other way and feel miserable and feel that nothing is working for you. But then if you open up and you, as you said, you intend to go the lighter way, then that is as easy, as easy, and it opens up beautifully for you. Yeah, it's
actually easier. Yeah, it's actually easier. It takes more energy to be shut down than it does to say yes, because saying yes and opening up is the natural component of your spirit.
Yeah.
It's matching that brilliance part of you. It's matching the truth that you are made of love, and that you're a divine being, and that you have incredible potentials and capabilities that you have not been mindful of, but that doesn't mean that they're not there.
Mm-hmm.
And saying yes and starting different things like this starts that being revealed to you. Yeah. And you'll reveal it to yourself, and it's a beautiful process.
Yeah. Yeah. So don't wait any longer. Just start today. Today. Yes. And that is why, and that is why the people that actually have decided to do that, to follow that path, are so happy, I remember being in a place where I thought they all looked, people that were happier, or, I thought, oh, well, it sort of felt annoying to me at that point in time, because I thought that nothing ever worked for me, and I was in that overwhelmed, burned out stage. And everybody that I saw that was happy, I thought they were over the top and silly, and and it just didn't feel right. But now I understand there's no other way. I mean, if you find the right way for you, and if you say yes, and if you are open to all the good things that are in life, then there's no other way than to smile and be happy, right? Yeah. It makes everything lighter. Yeah.
Oh, it's got so many full sail results to it. It's immeasurable. Seriously, it's immeasurable. And I think your story is common, that but I also see it as it's almost, there's a part of you that didn't know how to do it, or didn't feel worthy to do it, or didn't feel enough to do it, whatever that is, or didn't have enough value, or didn't feel like you were smart enough. All these things are coming from what I call a lack consciousness that is pervasive in our world, in our global world. It's the not enough type of thing. I have a lack of money, I have a lack of time, and I have a lack of love. Those three lacks seem to all go together. And what that lack consciousness does is it broadcasts off of you. It's an energy that broadcasts off of you. Then you attract to you from the universe all these circumstances and situations to keep you in that lack.
Yeah.
Okay? Because it's a matched energy of frequency, of vibration.
Yeah.
Where when you say yes, then I'm going to turn things around, and you start having a little bit of a change, or just a change in attitude, that then broadcasts off of you, and things start switching. Yeah. And you move out of that lack. It's not about lack. You can look at the things that you don't have, or you can look at the things that you do have, and there's a big difference in how you're going to feel the rest of the day. So.
And the universe listens. Yes.
Well, because we're all connected. It's all energy.
Yeah.
It's not a discerning thing. It's going to give you what your vibrational output is, you know,
Yeah.
and if you say, nope, I'm not going to do it. Okay. It's not going to argue with you.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not discerning, you know, so it's energy.
Oh, Jen, I love you sharing everything about what you're doing and you know the way you think about it. And I love it. There's a lot of wisdom in your experience and your and what you're doing. Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, I've been doing it for close to 30 years now. And
Yeah.
so I have a lot of experience under my belt. And like I say, I'm one of these people that I'm constantly looking for ways to improve myself, always improving myself, as well as how can I help somebody else that wants to make changes in their life, transform their life. How can I help them? And so I have a lot of tools available. My website, for those people that are interested, is lightsong.net. And again, the webinar is Recreate Yourself, 7 Truths for Guaranteed Success.
So you will find the links to Jen's website here on the page. And underneath this video, there's a button that will take you to her gift, which is a mini webinar Recreate. So that is what you talked about the seven truths to guaranteed success in a small version. Is yeah?
Yes, it is, and it shows some different pictures and other ideas that are in that we didn't have time to discuss here today. And you know, I feel as if I want to offer the audience, for people that are interested in purchasing, that they can get a discount if they put your name in. I'll make a coupon discount for them.
That's nice. And yeah.
We'll make it even a sweeter deal.
Oh, thank you so much.
Your last name, which is Levy, is that right?
Lely.
Lely.
It's a flower. It's a flower. It's a lily. But then
a lily. Oh, I love that. Lely. Okay, so we'll make that the coupon code, and when people click on that, they'll get a discount on the.
Cool. So, Jen, we covered a lot, but is there anything else that you would like to share? Is there anything that I forgot to mention or ask you that you think is important to share?
I think what's important to share is the absolute truth that everyone can heal. There's no trauma, there's no life situation that was so horrible, that was so absolutely devastating to you, that you cannot heal from. And there's no there's always a way to improve any situation in your life. If it's again, prosperity, or any of those lacks, money, time, love. And for people to understand that they are not the one exception, that it doesn't work for them. There is no one exception. And the reason for that is because we're all made out of the same stuff. We're all made out of this energy system, this soul of divine energy, and you are loved by life and creation just the same as everybody else is. And there's always an answer for you. Yeah. And you know, the spirits will say, you know, we've got your back. Yeah. You know, we're here for you. Don't fret. We're here. Use us. So
awesome. Yes. So you're not alone.
You're not alone.
You're never alone. Yeah.
And I think people that they feel alone, they feel like they're the only ones. Like, oh, it works for everybody else, but not for me. I heard that a little bit in your story, you know. And
that was at a point. At a point, I did feel like that. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's nice.
I'm over that. I'm definitely over that. But yes, I remember that, and I sometimes like to think back how I felt then, so that I can help my clients as well. You know, because they they come to me sometimes feeling exactly in a similar situation. You know, it's like, yeah, that works for everybody else, but not for me. And that
Right.
is such a silly thought, actually. You know.
It is.
Mm,
It is.
yeah.
It's a programmed thought,
Mm,
and it's just not true. It's
yeah.
something that you've decided, and it's just not true. Like I said, we're often products of what we've been told, and
Yeah.
it's just not true.
Yeah.
You know?
So embrace everything, because it's all there for you. All of you,
Oh,
everything, all of you, all of us, for all of you. You know, it's like open and infinite. Yes.
and Joyce, thank you for such a beautiful job that you're doing and a message that you have to people. I've just so enjoyed getting to meet you and chat with you a few times. I just think you're doing some dynamite work and really
Well,
great.
my work can only happen with people like you. So thank you again for being here and sharing everything, all your wisdom, with me and with us, with everybody. Yeah. So thank you again. Thanks so
Welcome.
much. Yes.
Yeah, my pleasure.
And everybody else that tuned in today, thank you for being here with us. I hope you learned things, and that it's going to help you as well.
Yeah. No matter what it is, I hope it all helps. Thank you.
And check your inbox tomorrow for more information on the All of You series of conversations, and get more information and add to your layers as well. Thank you all. See you next time.
Okay. Bye.